let's start the meeting. And since we have, I think, at least enough for a quorum, has everyone had a chance to read the last minute sent out minutes that Polly reminded me to send out? Did you get a chance to look at them? They're pretty straightforward.
Yep.
So let's take advantage with the people we've got here to, does somebody want to vote to accept the minutes?
So moved.
So moved. Thank you, Joe.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And Polly, I'll go through with you about how to send them in
That would be great. Thank you.
separately. All right,
Okay,
great.
so they were approved as.
If I can
as
play
every-
devil's advocate for 1 minute, because this is on Zoom, because I've had to do Zoom meetings,
Oh,
you're
hi,
supposed
Beth.
to actually read something at the beginning, and then you're supposed to actually call the meeting to order, and you actually have to do a roll call as well, I believe, for the vote.
Oh, thank you, Beth. So
So if you don't know about how to do a Zoom
I think
meeting, there's a lot of rules to it.
I think the roll call is only if you're hybrid, because you have people in both places, but we certainly can do a roll call for check-in. For votes, I know if we're all on Zoom, we don't have to do a roll call. But if you're half and half, you definitely have to do a roll call.
Hybrid.
So-
You might want to call the meeting to order too.
let's call the meeting to order. Thank you very much. Yes, this is I think the second Zoom we've done, isn't it? And the last one was a hybrid Zoom, I believe, but
So
All
on behalf of the Permanent Memorial Subcommittee, I call the meeting to order, and let's do a quick roll call. Joe Palumbo here.
Joe Hibbert here.
Tui Rogers here.
Nancy
Reed's
Priscilla,
here. Nope, sorry.
Nancy Priscilla Lee here.
Okay. And that
Ollie.
Polly
I
got
have
her.
Polly, yep, I thought I said that. Thank you.
Okay,
Oh.
thank you, Chris. And we ask everyone who's not in the committee, please keep your microphones muted just in case there's background noise until you're called on during public comment. That'd be very helpful for us.
We will have that. So we've approved the minutes. And yes, Beth, thank you. Maybe I'll talk to
Should
Shannon.
do we just appoint, should we approve the minutes again since the meeting hadn't officially been
Sure.
called to
So
order?
I'll move that we approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All
All in
right.
favor? Joe Palumbo, yes. We'll do a roll call. Joe Palumbo, yes.
Tui
Joe Hibbert,
Rogers,
yes.
Would-
Yes.
Polly
Nancy,
Rat, yes.
Nancy Priscilla Lee, yes.
Okay, so unanimous among all of us approved the minutes. And we can move on to the second item, which I'm assuming everybody on this list has gone to the website and has picked up the agenda. So you see what's on it, the items listed. We are going to spend and really the majority of the time today on looking at the communication plan for Freedom Park. And maybe one of the first things we do is we look at some of the naming in this, but nonetheless, that's what we're going to spend our time on. And I think we wanted to start our meetings with what we call rumor control, which is just going over some of the stuff we've been hearing. And this happens, I think, in every situation, including conversations in your living room, where people will say things that aren't exactly what is being put out, but that kind of thing can happen.
Yeah,
So I don't know
it's very helpful in like group meetings like ours to just do this as a quick check-in, like Tui was saying, just to shoot out like, hey, I heard this. This is what I think is really going on. We should make it clear. Or I heard this. Someone came up to me and said this. Is this true? What do you know? Just so we clear it out fast.
Right.
And it might be ones that were like, I don't know. And then we task someone to go find out before the next meeting next week. It's a good way for a team to clear out information quickly.
Right. And I'll start with one that we heard in the last meeting, and I forget who said it, but
And before we start, Tui, timing on this, we're gonna do 10 minutes or less. So I've got,
yes,
I'm keeping
in
an
fact,
eye.
less,
And
because
Joe, I'm gonna keep an eye on the 10 minutes, but will you be our like sort of backup person? Just keep an eye if we get closer to 10 and for some reason we're still going on this.
Sure.
Thank you, Joe. Go ahead, Tui, I'm sorry.
So the only thing that I wanted to mention was that somebody had mentioned that if the plan for the park were to bring forward people whose voices haven't been heard, that there'd be no place for the Thoreau plaque, which is already on the site. And that is just not true. That's not part of our plan at all. So that's an example, I think. So the Thoreau plaque is definitely something we're very, very in support of. And whether it stays there or not would be more based on the history of where the jail was than anything else.
And when you say stays there or not, you don't mean it would ever be removed. You mean it would be integrated into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's be clear, because I know there was a rumor last spring about it's going to be removed, and that's certainly 100% not true.
Right. Right. Did anyone else have anything that they had heard? Polly, did you?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
I don't have a large screen, so I'm trying to bounce back and forth, and I'm not doing it very well. So
You
forgive
can
me.
stay unmuted.
Okay. Well, I'm typing. I don't want you to hear clearly. Anyway, just one thing that I've been thinking about since our last meeting, which is our mission statement, our statement of purpose. And well, actually two things about it. One was I heard there seemed to be a suggestion or a belief that is the subcommittee's statement of purpose that we were created early in our existence. And I just wanted to point out that is actually, I don't believe that's the case. It is the kind of vision statement for this aspect of the work that we're doing. And as we all know, we're also doing the trees and supporting research that's been going on. So I think that was it. And then the other thing I wanted just to say is my understanding is that it was an aspirational statement, and the idea of saying we the people of Concord choose to and so on, which was something that folks had objected to, was really, I think, presented as a goal, something that we would like, whatever happens, if we do this memorial park, that it is something that the people of Concord endorse and are proud of now and well into the future. So I just wanted to state that as something that I just have been thinking about a lot lately. So
Okay, great.
Krista?
Yeah, one thing that I think is I've heard a number of times is that parcel 1639 is the last piece of green space in Monument Square. I'm not sure exactly how to interpret that. I did kind of go into the town's GIS and look at, what I would think of as green spaces in and around Monument Square. There's Monument Square itself, which is more than double the size of parcel 1639. We've got the two cemeteries, which are really important pieces of green space in the Concord Center. And, size-wise, parcel 1639 is about 7,000 square feet compared to, over an acre of the burying ground on the north side of town and the old burying ground off Kai's Road. So I just wanted to kind of put that in perspective. And also, Joe Hibbard, correct me if I'm wrong, but the plan preserves the 3 mature trees that are on the front of the lot. And then of course we called for restoring and removing invasives on the back of the lot. But am I right that the 3 trees that are there would stay in the plan?
Yeah, that's right. On both sides of the service drive, those trees at the upper end remain.
Okay. Yeah. So I think, we could argue back and forth about what an appropriate amount of impervious surface is, but those comments didn't really feel accurate to me.
Yeah, the dominant effect of the plan that was presented last January is basically to preserve the green space. I think there was a concerted effort by the subcommittee to make that part of the plan.
Yeah. And I think that was really done. It's the entire center space of that is for reflection. And that was Polly had mentioned this before, the difficulty of that space is to try to keep it a reflective space as well as to memorialize people whose voices haven't been heard. And that I think we need to keep reiterating that.
Nancy, or yeah. Tui, anyone have any others they've heard or what they want clarified, or that they've heard that they want help for the group to clarify? No. Okay. Well, great. Well, so we'll try to make this a regular habit, and I think it'll be a good place to clear stuff out, because this is clearly an issue that people care a lot about, and we want to do our best to be open and communicative and clear about what we know and what we don't know. So Tui, with your permission, can I move to the next agenda item?
What? Take it away, Joe.
So what we had talked about last time was we approved in a very sort of tentative way the concept of having a 6-month engagement communication plan. And our vote at the last meeting dealt with we were approving that as a draft, and then we were going to spend this month sort of like working on taking it to the next step. And I think we want to be clear, especially from what our conversation was at the last time and the feedback we've heard both at the meeting and I think specifically at the meeting was, then we said a lot, it was a draft. And so if we really want to improve this draft, when Tui and I talked about this, we thought the place to start is with the key objectives, because the key objectives set up what's going to happen, if anything, and in any way over the next 6 months. So that's why on today's agenda, really, we just want to spend time talking about those draft objectives. Are they the right ones? Do they need to be changed? Do they need, what do we need to do to them to see if we can get them to a place where everyone in the committee agrees, yes, these are the right key objectives. And then maybe next week we can start building out activities that relate to them. There's no point in talking about what we're going to do, activities or tactics, until we agree on the objectives. So I know you may have them from last time. I sent them to you via email, just so you had them in front of you again. And you can just check in your email, they're right there. And I think that's what we're going to do, is just have an open conversation amongst the 6 of us now about these objectives and how we could change and improve them. But before we go to any further, any clarifying questions about the task that we're about to work on? Does that make sense, what we're about to do? Relook at those objectives.
I see Terry there. I bet she's going to ask us to read them, Joe. Terry?
Or share your screen, either way.
Yeah, we weren't given host privilege, so we can't share your screen. But I can read them out loud. The current objectives for our committee are: raise awareness about Freedom Park as a space dedicated to the expansion of human freedom and equality. That would be an objective over the next 6 months, try to raise awareness about the space that we wanted dedicated to the expansion of human freedom and equality. The second
Joe,
objective,
I could paste them in the chat. That would be helpful.
if you can get them in the chat, but often these town things don't allow the chat feature to work.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
then, okay, keep going. I'll see if we can do it.
Yeah.
The second one is to engage the community to help shape the park's vision, ensuring that it reflects the legacies of those who have fought for freedom, equality, and justice for all people. So the number 2 was engage the community to help shape the park's vision, ensuring that it reflects the legacies of those who have fought for freedom, equality, and justice for all people. And the third one was foster broad-based support for the project by connecting the park's mission to the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution and the ongoing expansion of human freedom. So really, one was about raising awareness of what we're trying to do, specifically connected to the statement of purpose. The second one was making sure we're not only raising awareness, we're engaging the community to help shape the vision of whatever ends up as a part of that permanent memorial. And third was to foster some support and broad-based support by connecting the statement of purpose to the 250th. And these objectives were like, well, we're drafting saying we can get this done over the next 6 months. So our conversation now amongst the members of the committee is, what do you think? How should we change those objectives? Should we take the name of the park out? Should we call it something else? Let's just have an open conversation. We don't have to decide anything yet. This is like free for all. What do you think about any of these 3 or them in totality?
So let's start with the first one, Joe. Because part of it is to edit this and make sure that those objectives are stated the way that we all agree and feel makes sense.
Right.
You're muted again, Polly.
I know I have a bad habit of that. Well, I just will offer some thoughts. I actually think that we should probably remove the title Freedom Park, because I think it conveys that this is more fully formed than perhaps we really want to communicate. And I think so I think it would benefit from a little rewrite.
Okay.
And I would also, I guess I would also try to emphasize, I think in this first one, we're trying to raise awareness about a proposal to dedicate this space as an open, a green space in the center of town dedicated to the expansion of human freedom and equality. And that was not very artfully stated, but I think including some acknowledgement that we're coming with a proposal, and we want people to know that this proposal exists, and then start to engage people and get their feedback about it on a broader way is my thought.
So maybe something like to raise awareness about the proposal to dedicate this space.
Yeah.
To
Yes.
be more, this is what we're doing. We're focusing on this space, and this is the proposal. And
Yeah, and the proposal, not to be confused with the plan, that really what we're doing is
right.
or what we're proposing is what's spelled out in the statement of purpose, that we want to know, like, is this a worthwhile project to elevate these voices in a park-like setting? And I think, the site is part of that.
Yeah.
So we are referring specifically to parcel 1639, even though we don't want to call it that, or are we referring to a prominent location in town?
I don't know.
Well, I think
about that.
I think we could easily take out Freedom Park and just put in raise awareness of the memorial space, or the memorial green space, or the memorial park, or something about the space. And you can even we could put the memorial park / parcel 1693 if people wanted it identified. But I do think that's the place we've been talking about for the last 2 years. So I don't, unless we want to vote that no, we're going to let go of it. I think that's the space we've been talking about. We just might need to call it differently.
At our last meeting, we pretty much agreed that the linkage to that site was significant. I mean, that's the space we're talking about. We can keep revisiting it, but I'm pretty sure that that's what that is not up for debate unless it's something that comes up for debate.
Right. Well, and it's possible that through this process, we'll discover that that there's a better site, or that there's a different site, or we can, but right now this is the site that we are working on. I think it should be in there personally.
Right.
Yeah, it should be in there. Nancy?
I'm much more comfortable with what Polly is suggesting, because it is just a proposal. I think the way that it read before was that this is, signed, sealed, and delivered, and it's definitely not. In fact, it's far from that. So I like that. It's very much more open. And, I know I said this last time, and probably the rest of you aren't going to like it that I said this, or that I say it again, but I do think that we also need to keep taking into mind what I said last time, which was these 19 or 20 names that we want honored. And I think that we can't, our subcommittee needs to at least talk about that a little bit, because we can't, they need to be honored somewhere too. And I don't know exactly where that should be, but for me, this is just a proposal to the community. And yeah, I'll just stop there.
So Nancy, talk a little bit more if you could, about how, because you made some really strong points last time about the purpose, the importance of these names. Do you see that is there a way to fold it into these objectives, or do you think it's more like we
I
need
hope
to,
so. You know,
or do we need to make space on the agenda for like someone to formally come to us? Because we really don't have any proposal yet from anyone. It's just sort of, it's kind of out there in the ether. No one's really come to the town committee on permanent memorials, which is us, and said we want to do X. So kind of think about, what do you guys think about that? What does Nancy think about
I
that?
think there hasn't been an invitation, and because the 20 names, you know, that research has not really come to the attention of the public until recently. So it's not, you know, there's no reason why it should have been brought to the Permanent Memorial Subcommittee. It's just that now it has, and now that it has come up, it can't be ignored. So I keep thinking, if not on parcel 1693, where else, you know, would a memorial to those people be? And you know, because we have so little, or we have zero feedback yet from the advisors working group, so it's very hard for me to talk about it because we don't know what is being proposed for 1693, what the exact memorial actually is. So I just think we need to keep that part of the conversation.
Paul, you seem to have an idea about what Nancy was saying.
I had an idea. I don't know if I can articulate it, but I think I agree with Nancy that I feel like given that this has now developed, that we are the right place to be considering how to, you know, to include it in our proposal or yet another proposal or something. But I think, and I also honestly feel like people whose lives were lost in the American Revolution from Concord fit very well in our statement of purpose alongside other lives that we're trying to elevate. These are people whose names haven't been known until now. So I think you can make a strong argument that their stories have also been untold. I don't know anything about their stories, and I bet none of the rest of us, oh, some of us might, but I bet most of the town doesn't. And who were they? And what does that tell us about who we were then and what we celebrate today?
Yeah, so that's a good point that I think that two you just made. If you look at the statement, raise awareness about us, I'm just using what the old one is because I don't have the new one, a space dedicated to the expansion of human freedom and equality. There's nothing in that statement that would preclude these people being included in that because they clearly fought in a conflict that we believe created a country that fought for the expansion of human freedom and equality. So there's no reason that I see the way it's currently written that they wouldn't be included,
Right.
because we're not really talking about the content. We're talking about the proposal to the community about what this thing was going to be about. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I certainly agree. And I think that, you know, I think I'm amazed that this is the town, along with Lexington, that started the American Revolution. And we have a plaque for everybody who's died in every war since then, except for the big one that we were really so instrumental in starting. And now Beth and I guess others have sleuthed and found these names. So absolutely, there's a place for them, just like there's a place for good old Henry David and all of that. None of which needs to alter the mission that started this whole ball rolling 2 years ago, coming down from the select board to the executive committee to us. So I mean, I think all of these pieces, I think, what was it that Dennis Fiore said 2 weeks ago or whenever we last met, that, you know, can we help? Is there something we can all do? And what I heard and what he was saying is that we are really all in this together. I think everybody in Concord would like something to commemorate the space. How we do it, I think, is up for grabs. And I think coming back to what we're doing now is to define the pieces that lead up to that commemoration. And this is another piece of it, the 20 names. And Beth, I have a feeling that as we continue this, there may be more names that you're going to find.
So Krista, Joe, yeah, can you log in on this? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree that by including, consideration of the 20 names, if that's the number, I think it fulfills the third objective very well of fostering a connection between the park's mission and the anniversary of the start of the American Revolution. And I think it does it in a particularly strong way because I think all of the battles, so to speak, that are being represented now in the stele and in our narrative, the battle of African Americans for freedom, the battle of women for equality, in a way, those are fighting the battle over again, if you will. If the battle is for individual freedom, and in the case of the people fighting at the bridge, independence, then the subsequent battles that we have been talking about memorializing through our narratives, it's really fighting the Battle of Northbridge again and again. And I think that's also the story of this country, and one that is, alive and well today.
Good point. Krista.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I see it as more of a content question. We will be going back out to the public with these ideas to get more input, and that, those 20 names and how to represent those and how to commemorate those is, to me, just part of, that whole story that we're trying to tell. And do we use Louisa May Alcott? Do we, how do we talk about Thoreau? So I think all of these are all part of the mix that we want to get more feedback from people. And, I think as long as, we have these men that took up arms and gave their lives, and we have the women, and in some cases the slaves that stayed behind and kept Concord going. So it's, I think all of these need to be heard.
Yeah. So from a question then about our objectives, based on the conversation the six of us just had, what I'm hearing is that absolutely these names can and should be integrated into, as we talk to the community about what this memorial will be about. Is there a place is it covered in the key objectives? Or is there any wording that needs to be changed in the key objectives? Because that's what we're trying to nail down right now.
No, I think Joe's point that it fits really nicely with that third objective, because we don't have anything else specific about other individuals in here. So
right, good, okay. Do we agree? Is that a general agreement? Anyone? Okay. Yeah.
I just have to say, I've gotten a text from Kate James, who's having trouble getting on. So I'm going to take a minute to respond to her. So continue. Okay. But yes, I agree.
All right. So take, Polly, do you have a pretty good eye on where any edits we've done so far? Or was that too you have to leave yourself on mute.
No, I think it would be, I know. You don't want to hear me typing. I just know
it's
that.
Okay. We love your typing.
I think I have I don't know that we really talked very specifically about edits. We talked about taking this statement and modifying it to say, raise awareness about the proposal to dedicate a memorial space at parcel 1693. Well, I use the word dedicated to the expansion of human freedom and equality. That needs a little polishing. And then I just have my own notes, emphasize that it's a proposal and keep it open. Mm-hmm. So what, I think there's enough to at least come up with something that reflects those goals.
How about for
let me, I mean, I'm happy to take a stab at it and send it around or include it in the minutes, I guess.
Well, if we could do it today, then that would save us, because we can't really.
Okay, so go for it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read that what I had there again?
Yeah, read it again, and everyone listen and see if it's
raise awareness about, I would say, the committee's proposal to dedicate a memorial space at parcel 1693 dedicated, got to change that, to the expansion of human freedom and equality.
Everyone, do you want to read it one more time? And then
Sure.
everyone can listen,
Yeah,
make sure
I
it
want to
sounds
come up with
okay.
another word than dedicated, if I can, to construct. How about that? How about,
Yeah, for now.
okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Raise awareness about the committee's proposal to construct a memorial space in parcel 1693 dedicated to the expansion of human freedom and equality. I wonder if there needs to be a reference to a little bit more from our purpose dedicated to the, well, maybe keeping it vague is a good idea. But we have talked so much about elevating voices, or
How about if we put the coda on, can you read it again?
raise awareness about the committee's proposal to construct a memorial space in parcel 1693 dedicated to the expansion of human freedom and equality.
As reflected in the statement of purpose or in alignment with the committee's statement of purpose, so that without having to go in all the detail, you just reference the statement of purpose. That's just a
Or
suggestion.
the project statement of purpose.
Yeah.
And do you need,
These are minor comments, but subcommittee, or can we say committee? I don't know.
Yeah, we should say, you're right,
Subcommittee.
say subcommittee.
And
Subcommittee,
also,
you're absolutely right.
I don't know, maybe I just haven't thought about this enough, but is it enough just to say freedom? Do we need to say human freedom? There's something I don't like about saying human freedom. I just feel like it's too.
I think it would, simple is good in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't like human freedom.
and
Shall I strike the word human? Do we all think that's?
did you have more, Nancy? I have a comment too.
No, that's all.
It seems to me raise awareness about the subcommittee's proposal to create a memorial. We're creating it in a space.
Yeah, you're right. Create.
So we can take out the first space to
I
create.
agree. Yeah, I had the same comment. We could just eliminate the word space. So it would be a memorial at parcel 1693.
Okay, so what I have now is raise awareness about the subcommittees. I probably should spell out well, anyway. Raise awareness about the subcommittee's proposal to create a memorial at parcel 1693 dedicated to the expansion of freedom and equality as reflected in the project statement of purpose.
And like if by June, there are more people aware of what you just said, that would be, that's a good objective to reach, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It gives us something clear we can work towards. We can even measure it. If, it's almost like a measurable objective.
But if we don't have memorial space in there, then it's just a memorial. And does that make it sound like it's just an object, as opposed to when in the second objective we talk about a park? Or is it a memorial?
I think space is important because we don't really know.
How about a memorial park? To create a memorial park. I mean, it is a green space.
There we go.
I think that's preferable.
That's a good idea.
Which would be like park or green space or some other
park. Yeah, I think park's nice and clear and tight and small.
At parcel 16 or on parcel 1693.
And we don't say where that is. Is this too, I mean.
I think we want to keep these small, I mean.
Yeah.
These need to be tight. So there'll be a whole lot of build out of this. These objectives.
Yeah, there's a lot. We're already referring to our statement of purpose.
Yeah, sorry, getting too big.
Yeah.
All right, read it one more time.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, anyway. Okay. Raise awareness about the committee's proposal to create a memorial park on parcel 1693 dedicated to the expansion of freedom and equality as reflected in the project statement of purpose.
Nice.
There's a question about whether it's on or at parcel 1693.
I'd say on, and just make sure you get subcommittee instead of committee.
Yeah.
Subcommittee. Did I say committee? I meant to say subcommittee. I actually was reading subcommittee, but anyway. Okay.
I've got it written down too, so we can.
Okay.
Let's try this. Can we try the second one?
Yeah.
Did we make any changes to that yet? Engage the community to help shape the park's vision, ensuring it reflects the legacies of those who have fought for freedom, equality, and justice for all people.
That seems pretty tight to me.
Nancy, Krista, Tui, Polly, what do you think?
I'm good.
I
Good.
like it.
Okay.
I like it too.
Is that Kate?
Yeah, I found another device to use. Thank you for.
You're like the random voice from the ether.
I know. I was
Sorry.
I was getting
You have
ready
a
to call
camera where you
Kate.
are? Do you have a camera?
No, I'm not able to use the camera. No.
Okay. All right. No worries. At least we know you're there. So
Okay.
if you raise your hand, we won't know. So you have to kind of.
Sorry.
Do you need, just so you know, recap what we're doing? We're working through these objectives.
I get it. Yeah, I
Okay.
got it.
All right, great. So we've done the first two. We're on the
Okay.
third one. Foster broad-based support for the project by connecting the park's mission to the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution and the ongoing expansion of human freedom. So how do we want to change that one?
We can eliminate human again, per what Nancy said, and simplify.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Do you think instead of the mission of the 250th anniversary, should we say the mission of Concord 250? Or do you think this sounds better this way?
Ooh.
I don't
Well,
really have an opinion. I'm just mentioning it.
Does it have a mission?
I'm sorry, say again?
I'm sorry, is there a stated mission for the 250? Okay,
Yeah, the Concord 250 has a thing.
all right.
Charge and all that. So I guess that's it. Now that you mention that, that might be a reason to connect it to Concord 250, because the Concord 250 mission and charge was voted on by the select board, which
Yeah.
gave the power to the executive committee, which then gave, authority to us. So now that I'm thinking out loud, it might be good to put
How would you phrase that?
foster broad-based support of the project by connecting the park's mission to the mission, maybe not the mission, the charge of the Concord 250 in celebration of the anniversary of the American Revolution and the ongoing expansion of freedom.
Concord 250, is it just Concord 250?
Maybe a simpler way would be to say connecting the park's mission to Concord's possessive apostrophe S 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. So you're just taking out the word "the" in front of the 250th and putting Concord's.
nice.
Yeah, the only thing I'm saying is the entity is called Concord 250. That's like the executive committee is the Concord 250 executive committee. We're the subcommittee for, everything's Concord 250. So maybe it doesn't matter.
So
Or you could just say connecting the park's mission to the Concord 250
How about to the town's
anniversary.
Yeah, that's good. The
Towns.
towns, yeah,
Yeah.
the town's charge for the Concord 250 anniversary celebration of the anniversary of America.
Is it a celebration or is it a commemoration?
I like the word commemoration, but
So I'm a little confused about where
Yeah,
we're going.
Let's try foster broad-based support for the project by connecting the park's mission to the charge of Concord 250, which celebrates the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, or commemorates either one.
Which, okay.
And then the rest of the sentence.
Okay.
So I'm going to do it again.
Yes.
What
Foster broad-based support for the project by connecting the park's mission to the charge of Concord 250 celebration or commemoration of the American Revolution and the ongoing expansion of human freedom.
why not go back to anniversary instead of celebration, etc.?
That's fine too.
Which
Well,
is
I
what
think, did anniversary, I thought anniversary, commemoration of the 250th
Anniversary.
anniversary of the American Revolution and the ongoing expansion of freedom.
Yeah.
So, okay, so can I read what I have here just to make
Yeah.
sure? that
Can I
I've
make
got those
one?
words?
Can I make one?
Yes, please.
One tightening if it would not make it too abbreviated, which would be everything Joe said, connecting the park's mission to the charge of Concord 250 and the ongoing expansion of freedom.
Oh, because we know it's about the revolution.
Right,
That's-
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't
exactly.
have to say Concord 250, which is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
anniversary.
I
Good
like
point.
it.
This is why it takes a village.
Okay, shall I read what I think I have?
Please.
Foster broad-based support for the project by connecting the park's mission to the charge of Concord 250 and the ongoing expansion of freedom.
Done.
Nice.
I like
Good.
it.
Boy, we really,
Let's go back, Polly. Oh, sorry, Chewy.
no, that's fine. That's good.
Let's say go back and read each one as you have it. And
Okay.
the goal is if we listen that you like it, and then we'll take a vote at the end that we're accepting these as our new objectives. And if we don't like them, we'll work on them some more. So read all three of them, Polly.
All righty, here we go. 1, raise awareness about the subcommittee's proposal to create a memorial park on parcel 1693 dedicated to the expansion of freedom and equality as reflected in the project's statement of purpose. 2, engage the community to help shape the park's vision, ensuring it reflects the legacies of those who have fought for freedom, equality, and justice for all people. And 3, foster broad-based support for the project by connecting the park's mission to the charge of Concord 250 and the ongoing expansion of freedom.
Does anyone need to hear any one of those again, or does anyone have any kind of suggestions for today? So I'd like to move that we're accepting these as our new objectives for whatever this 6-month engagement communication plan ends up looking like. These are just the objectives. That's all we're approving.
I
I
second.
second it.
Okay. Roll call. Joe Palumbo, yes.
Joe
Polly Reed,
Hibbard, yes.
Krista Collins, yes.
Nancy Frisella Lee, yes.
Huey Rogers, yes.
Kate?
Kate James, yes.
Okay. Awesome. So I know we had said we were going to try to keep these Zoom meetings, since we have one each week, to an hour, and we need to save some time for public comment. But before we get to that, I think what we talked about is sort of next steps between now and next week. And my suggestion would be, like, I remember last time Nancy had a really good sort of forming idea about, I don't know what you called it, Nancy, but like conversations that we could start holding in the library. I think you're talking about. I think what we should, between now and next Friday, all of us think of what are tactics or activities we can do that will help make any of these three things happen. I don't know if that's too broad a charge, but knowing that we've got roughly 15 minutes left, and we need 5 minutes at the end, and at least 10 minutes for the public. Does that sound like the right amount of work for the next week? Think of activities that we could start to organize that will support these objectives. But that's, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know what y'all think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And it's going to be really wild and open. Like, I think I'm going to make stuff up now, right? I think we need to get this kid we know at the high school to make, 3 videos for us about blah, blah, blah. Or it could be Nancy fleshes out her idea about the conversation in a space. Or, we need to do an art project about what freedom means. I'm going to ask the Robbins House to help us engage their 2 art teachers anything. And then next week, maybe we can just make a big brainstorm of them and then start now, and then kind of see where we go.
Could you please, I'm a little blind to what the objectives. I don't have them in front of me. Can you please send us all
Yeah, I think
that written so that
when
I
the
better
meeting, when the meeting's over, Paula, will you send them all in your cleaned up version, just so we have them even before the minutes, just like, hey, this is what we talked about.
Thank you.
Okay.
So next week would be brainstorming the 3 objectives, basically, any ways of getting.
Yeah. Activities that will help meet the 3 objectives. So 6 months from now, if the world is perfect, we've met these 3 objectives. What are things we need to do in the next 6 months? What are types of things we could do in the next 6 months to help make these objectives come true? And the idea would be to do your brainstorming before the meeting. So you come to the meeting with, you know, at least one. If everyone came with one, we'd have plenty.
And January is the first month and June is the 6th month. Is that right?
That's what we said, but we can change it.
Okay.
I mean,
It's just thinking about seasonally appropriate things.
yeah. And we can, I mean, also we said 6 months because people do 6, 8 month, 12 month, but we could say we want an 8-month plan, or we want, you know, a 5-point, we can do whatever we want.
And I think it's really, we just have to remind ourselves that we're not going to probably do anything substantive in this regard outside of our committee between now and the 19th of April.
Well, we might have a forum, we might have a conversation. I mean,
We
you
could
never
have,
know.
but I don't, yeah, I mean, I think that it's the schedule is going to continue to get blocked up. So I think it would be hard to have a public forum. It would be easier to do what Nancy had suggested, is sort of informal conversations in the library or whatever.
And
Because
that might be where, and that might be what we need.
Yeah.
Just build meaning. You know, maybe, yeah.
I mean, it would, I think it would be a missed opportunity if we didn't take advantage of people being around for the 250th, you know, for that week of April 19th and get,
Yeah.
you know, we could have a pop-up park.
Right.
No,
That's good.
excellent idea. We're already getting ideas. Okay, so
I'm done. I did my homework.
Don't tell anyone, and you can reintroduce it next week and we'll think it's new.
so then I
So-
think we go to public comment, Joe, and
Yeah. That's clear. So we know we're not going to do next steps at the end. We know what next steps are. We know the next meeting's Friday, same time, same Zoom link. Everything's the same. Okay.
Thursday,
let's-
no?
Did I
Thursday,
say
not
Friday? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's Thursday at 5.
Yeah, sorry. That's me being stupid. I apologize. All right. So let's see. Peter Lee.
Yes, hi, thanks. Can you hear me? Oh, good. Thanks very much. I think the idea to have engaging the whole town, the community, this is great. And I think, you know, you guys are on track there. I also think that since the concrete physical proposal, which is what you have had for the past year, maybe a year and a half since the first public hearings, that's been really just one proposal with no alternatives. And so you have all your eggs in one basket, and some people clearly are against that physical concept, including myself. The mission statement, everyone I know supports it. And now that you make it even more inclusive to include revolutionary soldiers who were white male soldiers, it's no chance that anyone is going to oppose that. So I think that to spend the next 6 months to engage is great. But I think to spend it as a way, as a communication plan to move forward to a final design, it's a missed opportunity. You're losing another 6 months where alternative proposals will not come up because people don't perceive that they're being asked to give an alternative proposal for the physical design. So I would ask you just to consider that if you want there to be an option B, option C, instead of what you have, either in content or in the physical appearance of the space, I would encourage you to announce it early, announce it now, not wait 6 months, because then it would have been a year and a half past. And I think it would be too late. But I think that communicating is great. Engaging the community, this is all wonderful.
Thank you, Peter. Melissa.
Well, I would just like to agree with Peter. I think your theme is wonderful. And I agree with him. I don't see that other people would object. I totally support it. My objection is to the design, and you've only got one design proposal. And that's been my issue all along. I think what you have, your goal for the thematic proposal has always been quite eloquent. And I think it's been missing in Concord, but the way it is being interpreted as the physical design I object to, and I have yet to hear or anything from the committee that you're going to propose anything different.
Thank you, Melissa. Any other public comment?
If I could just follow up on that, this is
I
Peter.
just want to second Peter, see in case there's anyone else to go first, then I'll absolutely get back to you.
Sure.
Anybody else? Beth or Terry? Okay, Peter, please go ahead.
Yeah, just a comment that I think that if you want that to happen, I think you need to actively invite it, as people are not at this point going to write a memo to the committee saying, oh, what about this idea? Because I think that the time has passed. If I had proposed something, I should have done it maybe 6 months ago or a year ago. But I'm not sure I felt welcome to do that 6 months ago either. So I think if you want it, you should open it up and invite it.
Thank you, Peter. Last call. So conceivably, I think that the feedback we just got could be helpful in our thinking about brainstorming between now and next Friday. That could be something that one of the committee offers up, like how do we get people thinking about alternative designs or out of the box creativity? You know, that could be an actual thing we do over the next 6 months, is invite people to dream. But I'm just making stuff up now, but you know, like that could be something we do. So I think that's something worth thinking about as you do your brainstorming between now and next Thursday. Since we have 5 minutes left, I have one other update for the committee. Remember how when Gary was informing us about our advisory group, and that the town clerk thought that advisory group might need to be a real committee, and they're still working on the details of how to do that, because I mean, they're working with the state and they're trying to get it figured out, because these people have been sort of tasked with us to advise us. So as soon as we get it clear, hopefully before the next meeting, Tui and I are going to connect with Nancy to help organize whatever needs to happen. Do they now need to get vetted through? You know, there's going to be paperwork that needs to get done. So we just don't have the details yet. So I don't want you to think we've forgotten it. It's we're waiting for basically Lori to tell us, you got to do this, 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 and this, because it's not as straightforward as they thought it was going to be before. If that makes any sense. But so Nancy, I just don't really think we've forgotten. It's just we're waiting.
I'm unmuted. You can hear me, right?
Yep.
I just wanted to ask if all of the people are still, if all the original group that you named, are they all still involved? And how many times have they met, and when are they due to meet again?
I talked to their Elise, who sort of organizes them. They're, as far as I know, they're all still involved. My understanding is they're not supposed to meet again until February, which was very convenient because it's giving us time to get this sorted out.
Okay. I was just curious.
So I hope that by next week we'll have something with a plan with Nancy but you know, we've got time, but still. But I think their task might change or be modified by what we're doing. You know, so that'll be next week's discussion.
Okay, good, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you, Nancy.
On one other separate note, Krista, you had mentioned that the link in the 52 places, the New York Times article that references good old Concord and the 250th and number 23, that you wanted to replace the link on the town website, or have me do that?
I was going to update the content, which I have done a draft, and I sent it to Eric Shaw just to have him take a look at it and see if he wanted to add anything, or if the language around the contractor looked okay. I didn't name the contractor. So I'll give him a couple of days.
Okay.
And
right.
Yeah.
That was really awesome that, you know,
I wonder who got that in there, but that was pretty cool.
I think what happened is both Lexington and Concord threw everything, you know, through our PR people, what we were doing, and they just picked the stuff that they thought was cool, and they picked the trees as one of them. And they picked the Patriots of color as the other, because you think about people who read the New York Times, that's a lot more interesting than, and they built the quilt show too. So, and Lexington got the
Nancy, you were
nice
nice.
picture, but,
Nancy,
so,
you're sweet to call them my trees, but they're everybody's trees.
Well, I think we all feel, Krista, that they're your trees simply because of the amount of work you've put in to make this happen on your shoulders. So we're happy to share your glory, Krista, but really we couldn't have done it without.
I'm
the
happy to give you full credit, Krista.
right, take it with both hands. So,
Other volunteer, there are those other volunteers on our working group. They get a lot of credit. So
I'm just
And
looking at
Erica.
I'm just looking at the time, and I know Terry just clogged in. She'd like to have a few words before we close. So Terry, go ahead, please.
Well, I just had a question. I didn't follow, Joe, what you were talking about this advisory committee. Can you explain what that's all about?
It's not a committee. It's a group of advisors. This subcommittee asked to give us advice on the quality of the content. I can send you information about it. And they were operating as just an advisory group to us. And then we checked, Gary, before he left, checked with Carrie to see if they needed to fit open meeting law. And first they thought they did, but now they're not sure. So until they tell us exactly what to do, Tui and I and Nancy are holding off on doing any of the work until we know exactly what we have to do. So we're working with Kari and Lori to get it right.
Right.
But their job is to give their outside Concord historians, art people, to give us like content advice on
Oh, okay.
for the
Okay.
memorial.
Got it.
Park.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
So can I ask a quick question?
Please go ahead.
So I was hoping to outsource some events around tree planting to the events committee. You're on the events committee, right?
Yes.
Who should I talk to about that?
Me.
If not you.
Well, we can
You.
talk offline, but if we should talk offline, and then we'll have a meeting, I think, on the 22nd. I think that's where we're going to end up for this month's meeting. You're welcome to come to it. But yeah, just talk to me offline. We'll figure it out. Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Well, I hope no one's disappointed with a 1-hour meeting, but thank you. If there's any last comments for the good of the order. All right.
It was very efficient.
Thank you very much. I think this was a good first step.
Yeah, good.
Hey, great.
Should we call the meeting to close for us?
All right. How do we, Beth Enders, how do we do that?
Motion to adjourn.
Someone needs to make a motion.
I move that we adjourn.
And there's chairs, that's all you gotta say.
Okay, all in favor.
All right, have a good night, everyone.
See you
Thank
next week.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.